Imagine an AI system trained to decide who gets a job interview, who gets approved for a loan, or even who receives medical treatment first. Now imagine that same AI quietly carrying the biases of history. Subtle, hidden preferences coded not by malice, but by patterns in the data itself. These invisible fingerprints shape outcomes in ways most people never see, yet they can ripple across society with the force of an unseen gravity. The truth is, AI bias isn't a distant, abstract problem. It's already affecting lives, and the consequences will matter far more than most people think. Subscribe, like, and turn on notifications so you never miss how tomorrow's technology is reshaping the world right in front of you. Bias in AI is not about machines suddenly choosing to discriminate. Instead, it's about the stories data tells and the stories it leaves out. If most of the resumes in a training dataset came from men, the AI may quietly learn to favor male applicants, even if no one programmed it to. If a medical dataset underrepresents a population, an AI might misdiagnose illnesses more frequently in that group. These are not glitches. They are echoes of human history, amplified by powerful algorithms. Think about it like building a telescope. If the glass has a slight distortion, everything you observe will be warped, no matter how advanced the technology. AI bias is that distortion, and the higher the magnification, the more powerful the AI, the more the distortion matters. And unlike a telescope that peers only at the stars, AI is aimed at the beating heart of human society. Every distortion reflects not just light, but opportunity, access, and justice. And here's why it's personal. In the next 5 years, AI will touch decisions in finance, health, education, housing, and even justice. A Fermi estimate helps clarify scale. In the US alone, if 50 million loan applications a year are partially reviewed by AI, and even 1% carry bias, that's 500,000 families experiencing skewed financial outcomes annually. 500,000 doors closed, not because of ability or merit, but because of an invisible algorithmic tilt. If each loan rejection represents an average $250,000 home purchase delayed or denied, that's $125 billion in potential wealth-building opportunities lost in a single year. The stakes are immense. The hopeful part? Awareness changes everything. Bias exposed can be bias corrected. Just as astronomers polish lenses to see the stars clearly, researchers are creating tools to spot and fix distortions in AI. IBM's AI Fairness 360, for instance, acts like a diagnostic toolkit to measure bias across different decision points. Google DeepMind and MIT researchers are working on methods to train models with balanced datasets, effectively teaching machines to unlearn inherited distortions. New initiatives even explore synthetic data generation, carefully creating artificial examples to fill in gaps where reality has been uneven or incomplete. Yet the challenge is more complex than it sounds. Imagine training an AI to recognize cats. If you only show it photos of fluffy, long-haired cats, it may stumble when it sees a hairless sphinx. The fix isn't to ban fluffy cats, but to expand the dataset. Add diversity until the AI learns the deeper concept of what makes a cat a cat. The same principle applies to fairness. AI systems need broader, richer data to recognize humanity in all its forms. Extend that analogy further. What if instead of cats, the AI is learning what defines leadership potential or creditworthiness? Inaccurate training doesn't just misclassify, it reshapes futures. Here's where it affects you directly. When AI models get better at this, everything from medical diagnostics to job-matching platforms improves. An unbiased system might spot early signs of disease across populations equally well, giving millions of people faster treatment. It might recommend candidates more fairly, ensuring that the right talent rises regardless of race, gender, or geography. For you, that could mean a loved one gets the right diagnosis in time, or you land an opportunity that a biased system would have overlooked. Multiply those moments by millions, and the improvement to human well-being is staggering. Now let's dig deeper into how bias sneaks in. Data is often called the new oil, but unlike oil, it's not uniform. Imagine filling a tank with crude oil mixed unevenly, some clean, some thick with tar. Run that through an engine, and the performance will stutter. AI data pipelines work the same way. Historical crime data, for example, may reflect decades of over-policing certain neighborhoods. Feed that into predictive policing algorithms, and the AI might recommend even more patrols in the same areas, perpetuating the cycle. Quantitatively, studies have shown that facial recognition systems once misclassified darker-skinned women up to 34% of the time compared to less than 1% for lighter-skinned men. That's not a minor statistical quirk. If such a system were used in security checks for airports, that error rate could translate into thousands of travelers wrongly flagged each day. Small percentages become massive numbers when scaled across populations. Imagine the social cost of even 0.1% of a city's residents being falsely suspected of fraud or misidentification. It's enough to shake public trust in entire institutions. But bias isn't always obvious. Sometimes it hides in subtler ways. Consider voice assistants. Accents not represented in the training data often face higher error rates. A Scottish child trying to get help from a voice AI might be ignored simply because the system didn't learn her accent. Multiply that by millions of global users, and you see the cost. Whole communities excluded from a supposedly universal technology. The irony is sharp. Tools built to connect humanity can unintentionally divide it. So why does this matter more now than ever? Because AI is no longer confined to recommendation engines or chatbots. It's increasingly moving into decision-critical fields. In medicine, algorithms analyze scans and suggest treatments. In finance, they assess credit risk. In law, some systems even recommend bail or sentencing decisions. When bias infiltrates these arenas, it's not about the wrong ad showing up. It's about someone's health, livelihood, or freedom. The stakes are so high that the World Health Organization has already called for global frameworks to manage AI bias in healthcare, knowing that the wrong algorithm can cost lives. The future isn't doom and gloom, though. Researchers are pioneering bias detection systems that act like real-time auditors. Picture a financial AI that doesn't just decide, but also explains, this loan was declined because of insufficient credit history, not demographic factors. Transparency becomes a safeguard, ensuring decisions can be traced and challenged. Imagine a justice system where every recommendation by an AI judge comes with a plain language explanation, accountability at digital speed. What's in it for society? A fairer AI future could mean trillions in unlocked potential. AI systems free of bias could accelerate that by ensuring opportunities aren't bottlenecked by outdated patterns. For individuals, that translates into more open doors, more accurate healthcare, and more equitable services. An economy free of algorithmic drag could unleash innovation we haven't even imagined. And speaking of open doors, let's pause here. If you're finding value in seeing technology through a lens that exposes hidden patterns and future potential, make sure you're part of this journey. Subscribe, like, and turn on notifications so you're always one step ahead of the curve. Now consider how bias repair works. Some solutions focus on pre-processing, cleaning data before training. Others adjust the learning process itself, weighting underrepresented groups more heavily until balance is achieved. And then there are post-processing fixes, where results are adjusted after predictions to align with fairness benchmarks. Each method is like tuning an instrument. You can adjust the strings, change the way you play, or refine the sound after it's produced. And in practice, multiple methods often work together, just like a symphony orchestra, where every instrument must be balanced. The next frontier lies in embedding fairness into the very architecture of AI. Imagine an AI that, as it learns, constantly cross-checks. Am I favoring one group unfairly? It's like having an ethical compass baked into the core of the system. This is where optimism shines. We're not just fixing past mistakes, we're building smarter, fairer intelligence from the ground up. With neural networks growing more complex by the year, the potential to encode fairness checks as deeply as activation functions themselves may be closer than we think. And there's a human dimension. AI bias discussions often frame people as victims, but humans are also the solution. Crowdsourced audits, diverse developer teams, and public transparency reports are shaping a world where everyday users hold technology accountable. Just as consumer activism reshaped industries like food and fashion, public demand for fairness can reshape AI. The next wave of progress may come not from labs alone, but from communities demanding transparency as a basic right. The open question is, what happens when AI not only detects bias, but learns to preempt it before it appears? Could we see systems that actively seek out blind spots in their training data, the way a self-driving car constantly scans its environment for hazards? This frontier could redefine trust in AI, transforming it from a black box into a glass one. And with every transparent decision, trust could grow stronger, creating a feedback loop between humans and machines built not on fear, but on clarity. Bias will never vanish entirely because bias is part of human judgment itself. But technology can help minimize it in ways humans alone never could. Think of it like noise-canceling headphones. The world's background noise never disappears, but with the right filters, you can finally hear the music clearly. Similarly, fair AI won't erase human imperfections, but it can quiet them enough for humanity's better notes to ring through. And as we close, remember this. AI bias is not just a story about machines. It's a mirror held up to society. Fixing it is fixing us. And that's why the truth about AI bias matters more than you think. If you believe that a future shaped by fair, transparent, and ethical technology is worth building, then let's build it together. Subscribe, like, and turn on notifications to stay part of this unfolding story. This is Tech Mythos,